Who is liable in a dog bite case? Today, I'm going through 6 other parties who could also be liable for a dog bite. In Ontario, the Dog Owners Liability Act is the legislation that governs the legal implications of dog bites and dog attacks. Here is a comprehensive overview of the key points of the act. So the conditions for bringing a claim. First of all, you should know an individual can pursue a claim against a dog owner if the dog bites or attacks. So the dog bites or attacks a person or domestic animal. Secondly, if the dog is a menace to safety, the dog has behaved in a way that poses a threat to the safety of people or domestic animals. Thirdly, if the owner has failed to take precautions, so if the owner did not take reasonable steps to prevent their dog from biting or attacking or behaving in a manner that poses a menace. The term attack is not explicitly defined in the act, so incidents like a dog running into a person at a dog park might qualify as an attack under the act. It's a bit of a gray area, so it's something that your lawyer could argue for if that's something that's happened to you. Dog owners do have certain responsibilities. They have to take reasonable precautions, so dog owners must take reasonable precautions to prevent their dog from causing harm. This could include keeping the dog on a leash in public spaces, enrolling the dog in training or desensitization programs, or even using a muzzle or other safety equipment. In terms of liability, so the act does impose strict liability, so owners are strictly liable for damages resulting from a dog bite or attack. This means they're responsible regardless of their knowledge of the dog's aggressive behavior. The other thing to know about liability, and this is where the issue comes up of who you can sue in relation to your dog bite injury, is there could be joint and several liability. If multiple people own the dog, they are jointly and severally liable for the damages. There are other parties who could be sued in relation to the damages. I'm going to go through 6 of the main considerations so that you can give some thought to your injury and whether any of these might apply. Every situation is very different, so you have to get tailored legal advice to your situation, but these are some of the other parties who could be held liable. One party that could also be liable for a dog bite is a landlord. If the dog bite occurs on rental property, the landlord might be liable if they knew the dog was dangerous and they did not take steps to ensure the safety of other tenants or visitors. So for example, say Mike rents an apartment from Mr. Smith and Mike's dog Bella has a history of aggression. Despite knowing this, Mr. Smith, the landlord, did not enforce any rules about keeping Bella contained. Bella then bites a delivery person on the property. This could make Mr. Smith potentially liable for the delivery person's injuries. Another person who could potentially be liable is a property owner. If an incident occurs on someone else's property owner might be liable if they allowed the dog onto their property and the dog caused harm. For example, if Emma lets her friend John bring his dog to her backyard barbecue and John's dog Rocky bites a guest, Emma could then be held liable because she allowed Rocky onto her property and didn't take precautions to prevent the bite incident. Another person or category of people who could be liable for a bite injury is a dog walker or a caretaker. If someone other than the dog owner was in control of the dog at the time of the bite, they might be liable for the person whose injuries. So you might be able to claim against them. For example, I did have one case where there was a professional dog walker, and while walking, his client's dog bit someone else who became my client. Because the professional dog walker was in control of the dog at the time of the injury, they can also potentially be held liable for the injury. The fourth type of claimed against is a dog trainer. If the injury happens at the time when a professional dog trainer has the dog under their care and the dog bites someone, the trainer could be liable, especially if the bite happens during a training session. In one case that I'm aware of, a dog trainer was working with a dog, and during that training session that was conducted in a public park, the dog bit someone who was passing by. The dog trainer could be held liable in that case, and the dog trainer was sued in that case as being responsible for the dog during the session and failing to take reasonable precautions to prevent the dog from biting. The other type of party that could be held liable and that actually was sued in a Quebec case is a municipality. So if a municipality has knowledge that a dog is dangerous and fails to take action even though there are reports, then they could be held liable. In the case that I'm thinking of, a woman was mauled by 3 dogs, and she started a lawsuit then against the owner of the dogs, but also against the municipality for failing to make any orders in relation to the dog despite being aware that that dog was dangerous. In that case, she was successful and she did successfully sue the municipality, but every case is different, so it really depends on the circumstances. But if there are prior incidents that have been reported to the authorities and nothing is done, then potentially there is negligence there. The 6th type of person who could also be sued in relation to an injury is a business owner. So if the bite occurs at a business, such as a pet store or a vet, the business owner might be liable if they fail to ensure a safe environment for the customers. So for example, say Jane takes her dog Buddy to a pet groomer that's owned by Lisa. While Buddy's in the shop, Buddy bites another customer. Lisa in this case could be held liable because the bite happened on her business premises. The reason it's really important to know about these other parties is because suing the dog owner sometimes only gets you so far. If the dog owner does not have money to pay the judgment, you want to look for another party that might have the money to pay the judgment. Every situation is really unique, and I can be contacted for some specific legal advice on your situation. Contact me at the information below and I'd be happy to chat with you.